All right, welcome to this best of three. This is a best of three that is going to be starring here in the blue Infernal is going to be Elf, and in the red Infernal we have viper188c. And again, I'll maybe just mention that this tournament was the Logitech Plays tournament, which was played out this past weekend. And some of these games were cast, I think, by Bailmoth and Apop and a few other casters. I think Frank was also involved, Frank Shiracha. And but not all the games got cast, so I wanted to pick some of the games out of the replay pack and cast them for you today. So thanks for hanging out, or if you're on YouTube, thanks for watching. Looks like we're getting a little bit of harassment right out the gate. We've got Elf's Hexen over here trying to harass Viper's imp, but his imp manages to get down, and then these Shadow Masters get in there. Pretty nasty little creeps. So, but Elf's does manage to dance her Hexen away. Let's close that. And we see Elf going for a very interesting creeping strategy over here. Again, keeping those gaunts on the high ground. We've got to run them out of that area of effect. But keeping them on the high ground, allowing them to get a few free hits on these Shadow Mastiffs as they're running around to zone. Just good ways to keep these sort of AI-controlled units, make them a little less damaging as you're creeping. And it looks like we've got a Brute as our creeping partner for viper188c, and the Brute is a little bit slower on the creeping and can't creep from the high ground, but the farm's there to help out, so that's also helpful there. Now it looks like Elf put her farm here by the vision camp, which means that she can maybe get a little bit faster on that second creep camp. And it looks like Viper suggests his team head this way, but also he's added a couple of, a Brute and a couple Gaunts as well to his creeping army, so he can take that out. Meanwhile, a couple Fiends that were created there have run in, and they get taken out by these Gaunts here. This other Fiend just looking for bases, but it looks like Elf has not yet put down her second base and is going, looks like this Imp is just, deciding when's the right time. A Fiend in the base, trying to get a scout on what's going on here. Is there a Greater Shrine on the way? How many imps you got on Therium, that kind of stuff. Although this looks like a pretty standard, okay, you've got your two conclaves. I can see you have Gaunts on the map. And again, these units out here, interestingly, didn't capture this tower when they're up here. Didn't see that. Maybe a Fiend went and captured it. And Elf's gone all the way down to the south and creeped out Viper's health camp, which is sort of kind of an aggressive move. But I kind of like that. If you can take the creeps on your opponent's side, and the more that this map evolves, and the map pool's been in the map pool for a couple months now, the more the meta changes on this map. That Fiend definitely got the scout out that it was sent there for. But we're now seeing a lot of players, especially Infernal players, taking this as their first base. And we see Elf sort of positioning herself more along this right side, which seems like it's coming right out of the natural of her opponent. But again, if her opponent went down that left side, you can still kind of split the map in just a different way than you might expect. Elf managing to get this creep camp as well. That means she's getting a little bit ahead in the creeping, and she's committed to these Gaunts. So she's sticking with Gaunts here, whereas we've got a little bit of a mixed tier 1 army out of Viper, who's now moving up to having taken out that farm. You can anticipate taking out that farm might supply block your opponent, and another farm gets taken out. But we have the manifestation of the Shroud Stone come down, and that's definitely a good sign to run away. But it looks like Viper wants to turn and fight now, maybe changing his mind a bit there, seeing that Gaunt count is pretty hefty. We now see an effigy going down, and we do see It looks like there's Infest. Yeah, there is definitely Infest coming out. Plague Axes. And we get a GG coming out of Viper. Alright, that was a quick first game. Let's go into the second game. Alright, here we are in game 2. And this is going to be Elf in the red Infernal this time. And Elf won our first game. This is game 2. And Viper is looking for a win. Hopefully forcing a game 3. We see a skull going across the map already. This is sort of an old school scouting. This is how you'd scout, you know, early in the early access. As the meta evolved, you would save that energy so you could use your skull on your creeping instead. But on this map, there's 4 players, and trying to find where your opponent is a challenge, and you're going to want to. Well, it looks like we do have a little bit of maybe a cheese coming out of Viper. So that early skull was trying to get the scouting location as soon as possible so that whatever this Viper's doing is going to happen. No, what this imp is doing. This imp's chopped down all the trees for Viper and now can get into the main base. Looks like there's some interesting choice of a server, says Elf, between 2 North American players. Actually, Viper is not North American. I think Viper is European. I know this because I watch Viper on his stream on Twitch, and I encourage you to do so as well. He has some good games, interesting opinions on the game as well, and he's happy to voice them. And it looks like Viper has just got that imp hiding up there for now and is out creeping the map a bit. Maybe he's pondering that server issue, just thinking, what should I do? Forgot all about that imp. Maybe that imp has more nefarious plans. We got a health camp first out of both of them. Again, this is a little bit of the changing meta. And now both of them are charging right into the center. And Viper, well, decides, yeah, no, I'm not gonna fight, which is maybe wise, because not only is there a nice gaunt count here with some fiends, there's some fell hogs. It's a little bit of static D, basically, right there, boosting Elf. And again, it might just be the strategy that Elf has here of putting that farm on the vision camp that's just getting her a little bit ahead in the creeping. Instead, Viper is going to move back and creep out his health camp, and looks like same thing for Elf. How, you know, Imp Watch still just chilling there. Looks like he's doing a hokey pokey or something. That's, at least he's entertaining himself. Okay, health cap is taken, and now some brutes marching across the map. Not using the secret back door, but that imp's finally got to work, and that is a Shroud Stone coming in. And maybe that's not too surprising. What else is that imp going to do up there? Build a shrine? I don't think so. So we got a Shroud Stone going down there. We got some creeping of this energy camp, but unfortunately it looks like maybe scouted out here. And this is not a great time for these brutes to get scouted. They were kind of low on health, and now they're just saying, all right, we're moving straight inside. There's an imp moving out here. I'm not sure what that's about, but these brutes unfortunately get caught in the trees. But they're like, hey, there's a Shroud Stone over here. This is my static D. This is my base now. We now have a Shroud Stone going down over there, and it looks like gaunts. That's a really nice ball of gaunts. It's not a ball, it's a concave of gaunts. At the moment, sort of well positioned, although getting caught around this conclave isn't the best. It does make less surface area for the brutes, but it also means that it's a little harder for the gaunts. Now what we see here is with this Shroud Stone completed and with tier 2 completed for Viper, Viper did a summon Shroud Stone here, but these gaunts are pushing right in. No, while they're doing a little dance, that shrine is going down. So I think Elf has decided let's not worry about that so much. She's just pumping out more gaunts. She's got another shrine down there, and she had already transferred all of her workers. So while this kind of looks pretty devastating, She hasn't really lost her army, and we are, well, we are seeing a second base now going down for Viper. Ooh, and that's a miss on the Nightfall Infestation, which is good, sort of good micro for Elf to keep her gaunts out from under that, or that could have been pretty bad. We're seeing that the Infest from the Plague Axes is also helping out here. And, you know, this, yeah, we're seeing this brute here. Luckily on Shroud there. If not on Shroud, the Infest probably would have taken out. Now we see that brute go down to a nice focus fire from the Gaunts. There are a few Fiends out on the map here. Well, most likely spawned from dead brutes. But yeah, Vipers not... Okay, sending those over maybe to harass that farm. That is the reinforcement line, and those Fellhogs are probably taking pot shots of every... Yeah, so the Fiends try and get in there, but we're seeing now... Oh, okay, it looks like Elf is, yeah, trying to get in between this reinforcement line and cut off those brutes from the reinforcement while also saving that farm. Meaning that, again, more pot shots on brutes as they come through, cutting out that reinforcement line. So these brutes decide, let's go ahead and push in. There's some long-distance therium mining here. They want to get on top of those. But now the Fiends and the Gaunts of Elf are back. And Elf still not pushing into those Shroud Stones. And now we're getting brutes, you know, trying to knock down that Conclave. It's about half health. I think if Elf pushes into that, she's doing fine, but I think she's just a little wary, having lost that shrine, not sure of the economy of Viper back home, wanting to make sure she doesn't, you know, throw the game by just marching them into the Shroud Stones. So again, a little bit of back and forth. Another summon Shroud Stone pushing forward. That's definitely going to finish off the Ritual Chamber and the Conclave. Now is a terrible time to push in, of course, given that the Shroud Stone's got its double speed and double damage at the moment. But if you can let that cooldown end and the Shroud Stone return to its normal status, although, like I said, the Ritual Chamber and the Conclave going down, do we see another one? We've got a Shroud Stone here. We've got another shrine over here. But we didn't get a second or a replacement for that Conclave. That means production is going to be slowed, although it's not clear that she was able to produce out of both of those Conclaves at full speed, given her economy. And now we got a summon Shroud Stone from Elf, pushing forward, finishing off one Shroud Stone. And now the brutes push in on the top of these Gaunts, but oh, a very nice Nightfall Infestation. That's Infest and Slow on all of those Gaunts. Hexen in the center there, also fighting, although not being microed, which I kind of like, allowing the Hexen to basically be a little bit of a tank. And the Hexen, well, survived that, so not having to pay the ultimate price for that role. And that looked like it was a good exchange. We now have a Weaver on the map. That Weaver is going to be a pain in the butt. Not only can, yes, I love it. She uses it to tank the Shroud Stones, and even with the Focus Fire, it's a really tanky beast. And that allows her to move in, get on top of the army, and pretty much wipe out the whole army. There's just, well, 4 more brutes make it over here. So Viper's not out of this just yet, actually. Putting up a good fight for that initial cheese. Managing to keep Elf on her tails. And again, well, it looks like Gaunt's coming in now. So a little bit of a tech switch, which is probably wise. Just because with that range, they could maybe get on that... Ooh, darkness. I like that. That was cool. I hadn't heard that one before. And we now have... yeah, trying to knock down that Shroud Stone, but it's sort of nice to just allowing Elf to pick off each of these sort of brutes and fiends one at a time. Good micro, some good focus fire. And, well, if she can keep this up, she might be able to finally push this back. But again, another that keep getting summoned Shroud Stones. It's like we're in a little bit of a battle here, summoning Shroud Stones on top of each other. Elf has enough Animus now to summon another Shroud Stone if she wants. But I think she's just finding she has... Oh, I love that. Normally, you don't see Weavers pulling Brutes. But the Brutes are the tanky part of this army. You pull them in, all there is a few Gaunts left, and look, they're just being chased away. That Weaver, I might even pull in a Gaunt if I've got energy for it, because after this army is cleared up, I think, yeah, there's only one Shroud Stone left up here. And I'd love to see Elf march her way right across the map now and say, let's see what you got at home, because Elf's army here is, yeah, this is the right move. She's got her sort of queen Weaver here, who's, you know, a little slow, probably gonna be slow to keep up to these Gaunts, but that's the nice tanky heart of this army, and then a whole big ball of Gaunts that can just drop some nice damage down on whatever Viper is able to bring to bear. Now Viper's reinforcing back up here. He's got a handful of Brutes and Gaunts up here. Not quite the same, you know, army here. I love the lead Weaver here, trying to let the Weaver tank. That allows a nice microing the Gaunts, but not the Weaver. Let the Weaver just do her thing. A nice pull, lash from the Weaver on a Gaunt. Like I said, you might just want to pull on the Gaunts. Now the Gaunts are standing at the back, pull them in, and that's a GG well played. That was a great one.